Hi, this is Mark Von Drasek, a physics teacher at Evanston Township High School. And this is the fourth video of the series that we have for teachers and staff members of schools on SEL, social emotional learning, and the different skills that are associated with it, and why this is all the rage across the country in school districts, why this is becoming more and more important, and why more and more teachers are being asked to include this and embed it within your classroom, within your content lessons. So this one, we're going to focus on the first competency of the classic CASEL version of SEL, and it's self-awareness. So many people, many experts in SEL feel that without self-awareness, this is kind of the key one, the other competencies likely cannot be fulfilled. For example, if you don't really know yourself very well, how can any of the others make sense? How can your relationships with other people make sense if you aren't sure of yourself? So self-awareness is defined in the CASEL structure as the ability to accurately recognize one's own emotions, thoughts and feelings and values, and how they influence your behavior and identity. And that the ability to accurately assess your strengths and limitations or weaknesses. If you don't have a well-grounded sense of confidence or be optimistic, and in particular, if you don't have a growth mindset, it's much more challenging to do well in school. It's much more challenging to do well in life. So as in the introductory video, these are the associated skills with self-awareness. And we can walk through each of these briefly, just to kind of think about what they mean and possibly think of some examples of what this looks like in a classroom, within a school. So the first one is the identifying emotions. Now, emotions are not the same as feelings. Emotions is the physical response or reaction that you have to a given situation. Whereas the feelings that you have about that situation, those can be all over the place, because those feelings come from your thought process, from your past experience in your life. And individuals, if they have, and let's say they're in the same situation, they might have the same emotional response, the same physical response, but they could have pretty significantly different feelings about that experience. So for example, imagine the first day of school. Okay, kids walk into your classroom if you're a teacher. And, let's face it, at all age levels, at all grade levels, most students are probably, they're experiencing the emotion of fear. Okay, it's all brand new with new people, new peers, new teachers. But let's say that within a particular class, there's 20 white students and 3 students of color. While they all might be experiencing the emotion of fear, will they have the same feelings about the situation? Probably not. How do you handle that situation and make it a good experience for everyone, even though they might be all over the place as far as what they're feeling at the time? 2 students bump in the hallway during a passing period. They both might experience some anger in that moment, okay, the same emotion. But based on their life experiences and their peer groups and this and that, one might be more willing to fight, have the feeling of being physical with the other, whereas the other person, they might be scared. They might feel intimidated by that and back away. Okay, different feelings for the same emotional reaction. This might be more for the adults out there. Assume that you go to a conference, professional conference. A lot of people there are feeling fear. Okay, new people, if you have to present, that's terrible. That could be terrifying for people. But they approach the conference, they might have different feelings. Some may be shy or feel intimidated and not talk to many people, whereas somebody else might feel exhilarated and excited because it's a chance to meet people and network. Okay, so that's why SEL, the point of these skills, is to have experience, learn how to deal with these, practice them and apply them in your life so that you can adapt to the complexities that everyone feels when they're in different situations. Another skill is accurate self-perception. Okay, self-perception is the process of observing and interpreting one's behaviors, thoughts, and feelings, and using those observations and interpretations to define yourself. Okay, the process of creating the image that we have of ourselves. Okay, and then some of the, think about these, if you're a teacher in particular, when kids are walking in, do you greet kids? Do you make them feel welcome? That has a big influence on the student with their self-perception. If teachers don't recognize them as they walk in, how are they going to feel about themselves versus if the teacher did recognize them as they come in? All sorts of things come into play with this. It's a very complex situation. We know our students face bullying, isolation, everything that they see on social media, the different cliques and demographics of a school, the stereotypes, rumors form about different things. All of this has an influence on one's self-perception. How do we work with kids so that they start to feel positive about themselves with all of this noise that they encounter every day within school? Okay, another skill is recognizing personal strengths, and I would add, and weaknesses. What does that have to do with your self-perception and self-confidence? Okay. And of course, all of these are kind of intertwined with each other and overlap as far as the skills go. Okay, so with personal strengths, you think about what students have to go through in terms of their understanding of content knowledge and the skills of a particular class, problem solving, social strengths and weaknesses, how they relate to others, how they communicate, how they work in teams within a classroom, how they perform if they do extracurriculars. Okay, that's a whole nother realm of the school experience. Personally, what are their interests and passions, and what are their strengths and weaknesses within those so they can try to pursue them, if at all possible, within the context of a school. Self-confidence is one of the skills. Okay, what's your attitude about yourself as far as your skills and abilities go? Do you understand your strengths and weaknesses, and how does that play into how you view yourself and how confident you are on a daily basis? How do we help kids with this? Okay, if they're not confident with something that we're doing in a class, how do we help them? How do we work on mindset? How do we move kids from who may have a fixed mindset that they can't get any better in something to that growth mindset that they really can, that your brain literally and physically can get smarter. You can make neural connections over time in your lifetime. How do we handle differences in the self-confidence people have when they mix together with others of different genders and race and cultural experiences, different religious backgrounds, political backgrounds, stereotype threat? How do we deal with that for individual kids within our classes? Self-efficacy is one's belief in your capacity to execute behaviors necessary to produce specific performance outcomes. Okay. So how do we get kids to become better at this, to move from these negative perceptions of themselves when taking tests? How can we work with them so they can perform better on tests and assignments? People who are strong with this particular skill tend to be more motivated, and they enjoy new lessons, they enjoy new challenges, they take part in class, more engaged. They tend to define clearer goals, more achievable goals, and then go after them. How do we help kids with this? And self-advocacy. How do you communicate your needs? If you need help, are kids speaking up for themselves? How can you work with them so they get better at that? That's a life skill. All of these are life skills that they need in order to do well out in the complex world. So are they asking for help? Are they looking for mentors to help guide them, which often are the adults in the building? Are they speaking about themselves positively? Do they stand up for themselves? Can they take failures and mistakes and not beat themselves up, but rather think of that as an opportunity to learn and improve on that particular skill or with that particular content area? So in summary, all of this that falls under self-awareness, it has everything to do with all aspects of the experience our kids have on a daily basis within school, their relationships, their learning, their behavior. How are they safe to themselves as well as to others in and out of school? How they work on their identity. We can use these, to go after achievement and opportunity gaps. All of these ills that we have in terms of equity. All of it is kind of summed up within this one particular area, and the others are going to build off this. So that the following will focus on the other 4 competencies and their skills, and we'll see where that takes us.